Hey there, my name is Missy, and this is my channel, Missy Knits and Crochets. It's basically the same name. Oh, I want to make sure I'm not wiggling too much here. It's basically the same name as my Instagram handle, and I figured I'd keep it up here. So this is just to be consistent. So I decided to start this channel as a way to log my process of doing the Knitting Guild Association's Master Hand Knitting Certification Program. And so the Knitting Guild Association is a nonprofit, if you've never heard of it. It's a nonprofit dedicated to advancing the craft of knitting. And a direct quote from their website is, the TKGA is a 501c3 nonprofit organization run by knitters to support knitters worldwide in their quest to level up their skills and advance in the craft of knitting. So this kind of spoke to me as somebody that really wants to just always take courses. If I win the lottery, you have to play the lottery to win the lottery. But if I were ever to win the lottery somehow, I would just take classes forever. So anyway, so if you scroll through the website and you look at the names of folks who've contributed over the years, it's a real who's who of gifted knitters. So I totally encourage you to check it out. It's TKGA. Let me make sure I'm saying this right. TKGA.org. But anyway, so if you scroll through, you'll find that they do several types of certification, and there's 6 main things on that list. There's a Master Hand Knitting certification, and there's a Professional Knitter certification, a certification for knitting instructors, one for technical editors, one for knitting judges, and one for knitwear designers. So these are all really interesting. And as you can see, there's multiple pathways for somebody who wants to advance their knitting skills to gain that knowledge. And so from that list, I decided that I personally am not ready for technical editing, judging, or designing or instructing, right? But I am interested in getting better at certain aspects of knitting, and I figured doing it in a systematic way that's been set up by people who are already really gifted and professional in the craft seemed like a good way to go. So I decided I wasn't ready for some of those other ones, but I looked at the first 2, and from the site, this is their description. The Master Hand Knitting Program. So I was trying to decide between the Master Hand Knitting Program and the Professional Knitting Certification. And so the Master Hand Knitting Program is a cornerstone of all of our programs. That's what it says on their website. This program is designed as an educational process for those knitters who want to improve their skills. It's a rigorous program meant to challenge all knitters to learn and grow. Yay! And you knit swatches and projects that demonstrate your expertise, as well as submit written work that demonstrates your understanding. Volunteers actually review your work and provide detailed feedback to enable you to improve. That's cool. And then to receive certification, you actually have to show mastery in basic to advanced knitting techniques and the ability to research and learn new techniques. You will have experience in design and pattern writing and have knowledge of the history and techniques of knitting. The title of Certified Master Knitter is respected throughout the knitting industry. That's kind of cool. And then in addition to the Master Hand Knitting Program, and that is trademarked or copyrighted, we offer 4 specialized certification courses that give you the skills needed for success in the knitting industry. And then they talk about the technical editing, judging, instruction, and knitwear designing and professional knitting certifications. You will work one-on-one with a knitting professional who will mentor you through the course in which you demonstrate competency and receive certification. And then certification will give you the confidence and the ability to succeed in the knitting industry, as it means you've acquired the knowledge and skills needed in the discipline you chose and can market yourself as a certified professional. So personally, I still wasn't sure which to do. So I clicked through on each certification's description, and I got a more succinct answer. So the Master Hand Knitting Program was originally a way for members of the Knitting Guild Association to have their knitting evaluated using specific criteria and guidelines. And it was designed as an educational process, not a competition, not a contest. And we encourage all knitters who are interested in learning more about their chosen craft to participate. So there you go. And it's not for brand new knitters. I don't consider myself a brand new knitter, but for those who want to improve their skills. Okay, so that's that. And then versus, this is the professional knitter certification. This course is designed for those who want to take their work to the next level or for their personal satisfaction as a step to fulfilling professional goals as sample/test knitters or finishers. Unlike the Master Hand Knitting program, the professional knitter certification does not require that the candidate design garments, write patterns, or research or write reports. The focus of the certification is just the knitted work. And so the swatches and projects will demonstrate the candidate's ability to interpret instructions and patterns, as well as identify potential pattern errors. And then each module does include questions, but they will require no research, just observation. So, yeah. So that being said, I don't consider myself a professional knitter, but I want to advance my knowledge. And so again, if you go to the Master Hand Knitting part of the website, there are different levels. There's level 1, level 2, and level 3. And so the level 1 description is it's the first of 3 levels. The requirements are that you write a report on blocking of hand knits. You do 18 swatches, 4 gauge worksheets, and then answer 24 questions. And then you do 1 project, which is a mitten, and then you have to have a reference list. And then there's a level 2, which is you have to pass the first level before you can do the second level. The requirements for level 2 are divided into 6 categories. These are 3 book reviews, 2 reports, 19 swatches, 18 questions, 3 projects, which include a Fair Isle wristlet, a traditional Argyle sock, and a vest. And then another reference list. And then once you've done those 2, then you can advance onto level 3. And this is the final of 3 levels. When you finish this, then you are awarded the title of Master Knitter and receive a certificate and pin. And you must pass level 2 before you can do level 3. And so level 3 requires 3 reports, 3 book reviews, 19 swatches, 18 questions, 2 projects, which include 1 hat and 1 sweater. Both must be self-designed and knit, and then 1 must be in a traditional Aran style and the other in traditional Fair Isle style. And then, of course, a reference list. And so for each one of these, so for level 1, you have 12 months to finish. Level 2, you have 18 months, and for level 3, you have 24 months. Because, designing your own stuff and knitting it, that's a little bit more involved than knitting some swatches. And so, and of course, if you need more time, you don't need to re-enroll, you just have to contact the association, and then they'll give you an extension. But anyway, so that's kind of it. And then there's some prerequisites. You have to be able to knit something and have pretty good tension. You have to know how to weave in your ends. You have to know how to block stuff. But as you heard me say, the level 1 certification does include learning research on blocking, which I'm actually really looking forward to. So anyway, so I signed up for this, and the first piece of it, and I'm not going to give all this away because you can look this up yourself. But there is basically, you have to go through this whole process, and then you have to write a report on blocking your knitted goods, which I'm like, I've knit things before and I know why it's important. And, I've knit things in non-superwash yarn. I've knit things in superwash yarn. I know the difference between why blocking is so important for the different types of, stuff. But again, I'm not trying to be all, oh, I know this stuff already. I'm trying to get better. And you can't get that much better until you do the basics and you prove to other people that you've done the basics. So this is where I am in the process. The first thing I had to do, I have to get a binder. I already bought my yarn, They have a very specific list of yarns that you can choose from. It's not a list, but it's really specific requirements for the types of yarn that you can use. It's got to be like worsted weight. It can't be variegated. It has to be light, neutral in color, things like that, so that whoever's judging it is judging something consistently and easily. Like, it's really hard to tell stitches on black yarn or speckly yarn, things like that. So that's kind of like the first big requirement, that and finding some binders. And so, or a binder so that you can put all of your stuff in it. And then my first thing that I have to do is do a bunch of research for my blocking report. And so I feel like I'm in high school again. And it's kind of funny because I signed up for this and I was super excited, and I got my skein of yarn that should be able to get me through all of the 18 swatches. And then I was like, oh, I have to write a book report, or I have to write a research report. And then I just kind of stalled there. So I actually purchased the course back in November, and we're in April here. So it's, December, January, February, March, April. I'm 5 months in, and this is as far as I've made it. So I just wanted to have, basically a channel here that making these videos would force me to do this process, because that's the kind of person I am as a former teacher. I find that I learn way better by explaining things to people in person than I do just trying to work through it. And if I do have to make these videos for myself to explain to other people, it kind of forces me to do it, process. I don't know. It stimulates my brain just a little bit more than just sitting here toiling away. So come with me on this journey. I will let you know when I start to do my first swatch and how that whole thing goes. But that's really all this channel is going to be. I don't plan on having like hour-long videos, nothing like that. Just like, 10, 15 minutes here or there, 20 minutes maybe, or maybe if there's a really juicy topic, which it's knitting. I can't imagine how juicy the topics would be, but you never know. I'll maybe put a little bit lengthier stuff here, but that's all this is. So join me. Hope you enjoy or learn a little bit, and maybe you decide to do this too. So peace out.